Science fiction has a lot of really cool speculations in it, from interstellar travel to ethics with robotics, but neither more diverse than the idea of aliens. Humans have no actual proof currently that extraterrestrial life is out there, but we just love to guess what they might be like. I bet you could think of at least 5 games, books, movies, or TV shows that all have aliens in them, and with a different idea on how we would interact with them. But let's take a step back for a moment and really think about that. How would we handle aliens should we ever come across them, and what might come of it? That's what we're going to find out on this episode of Stuff You've Probably Wondered. There are plenty of scenarios out there from scientists and science fiction writers alike on how exactly we'll make first contact, but let's start with the idea that some alien, whether they were lost or not, took a trip to one of the more remote parts of the Milky Way galaxy and discovered a planet called Earth. Now, we only have an idea of what life is like from an earthly perspective, but what does intelligent life even look like? Is it carbon-based or silicon-based? Does it breathe oxygen or something weird like fluorine? Does it have arms or tentacles? Basically, we have no idea. But let's assume that this alien has enough common sense to wear a helmet and a spacesuit and looks vaguely human. If an alien, like many of us, gets caught in an unfamiliar place, they may want to stay out of sight for a while until they get their bearings, so they wouldn't look like a complete fool walking the streets. However, the moment that alien is discovered and they're confirmed to not be a hoax or some hallucination, there will be a lot happening at once. First, the local authorities may decide to capture the alien and detain them for a period of time before the news spreads. Then the national authorities will follow shortly afterward to fight over jurisdiction. In other words, several important people representing the local area, the state or province, and country the alien is found in will want to claim they're the ones responsible for everything that happens surrounding this ridiculously important event from then on. Then, of course, the news will spread and ethics organizations will want to make sure the alien is being treated properly, and science communities will want to study them, and so on and so forth. That being said, this is still a completely hypothetical situation, and there's no way anyone can say for sure if this will play out, but it does give us an interesting insight on what people will do the moment we find out we're not alone in the universe. So let's change it up a bit. Let's say this alien is one of many aliens who don't come down to Earth but contact us, whether through receiving an intergalactic message from us, or the other way around. How exactly should we handle this situation? Well, there is no set rule on what to do. Indeed, there are very few rules on what to do when we first discover aliens, but the best authority on extraterrestrial proceedings is the SETI Institute, or the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. They helped devise a doctrine that was approved by several international space organizations, and it is called the Declaration of Principles for Activities Following the Detection of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, or DOPA for short. This is a list of what the best course of action would be following first contact with an alien. First, the person or people who discover a foreign message should share the information with a trusted group of scientists to verify the signal. Then, important international higher-ups will be given the intel after the signal is confirmed to be actually alien. Then news of the info will be sent to various science journalists and trusted scientists who will peer review it and make the discovery official. Then, only then, will the news be given to the general public, and via SETI's suggestion, it should be the discoverer who shares it. Okay, that's all well and good, but what do we do with an alien that shows up on Earth one day like in our first scenario? What if there's a whole group of them who come down very publicly for everyone to see? In this case, things get a lot more complicated legally. Luckily, there was one man who developed a good starting point should this happen. In 1963, Andrew Haley became the first ever space lawyer through his publication, Space Law and Government. In it, he introduces meta law, or the rules applying to people not born on or living in a country on Earth. In other words, he describes what procedures should take place following extraterrestrial visitors. There are 3 major parts of meta law: a prohibition on damaging other races, the right of a race to self-defense, and the right to adequate living space. Sounds like anything we ourselves would want when entering the interstellar world, right? That's mostly because Haley's laws are based on the most classic of laws, the Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Aside from this, there really isn't much as far as space law goes because of how unlikely it is we'll come across aliens. SETI, ever the optimists with extraterrestrials, says a number of things on what best to do to prepare for them to show up. The most important thing they say is research and analysis. There needs to be more research into how people in the media would react to confirmed aliens. They say to ease the news to religious organizations since aliens aren't really a part of most doctrines of faith, though the Catholic Church has said they'd be happy to welcome extraterrestrials with open arms, with a free admission to Catholicism to boot. SETI also believes there should be more developed law and policy on what to do should strangers arrive on Earth, and that they should be the ones to brief governments on any information they uncover on life outside Earth. So how then are we, as curious observers, looking for alien life if we're so concerned with how to manage their arrival? SETI, for one, looks to scan the cosmos for signals being emitted from the system's surrounding stars. They do this by setting up huge radio telescopes that actively listen for anything that falls on the electromagnetic scale, from radio and TV waves to gamma waves. While the first SETI telescope was Big Ear, set up by Ohio State University, the institute now functions out of the University of California, Berkeley with the Alien Telescope Array, a collection 42 radio telescopes strong. In addition to eavesdropping on nearby stars, we're also throwing our humanity out there for any potential intelligent life to see. Some of these projects include Amphi, where a radio signal containing 501 messages was sent out in 2008 toward the planet Gliese 581c, 20 light-years from Earth. The messages were chosen via a public competition and say all sorts of various things. Also, there is the famous Arecibo message sent in 1974 to the M13 globular cluster, a mass of 25,100 light-years away, that contains very basic pictograms about Earth and some things we know about it to prove our intelligence. And then there are satellites that we're flinging to nowhere in particular that include Voyager 1 and KEO, but you can find out more about them in my video on time capsules. It may seem like our planet is shouting into space in the hopes of getting a response, but since humans are endlessly marching towards greater and greater scientific progress, hoping for technological mentors to come help us out is the best way we can think of. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have a question you want me to answer, or have an original song you'd like me to put in the background of a future video, leave it in the comments or email me at stuffyou'vebrobablywondered@gmail.com. Also in the comments, share your thoughts on alien intelligence. Do you think we'll find them in your lifetime? What do you think the best course of action should be when handling them on Earth? Either way, I'll see you next time on Stuff You've Probably Wondered.